All right, geometry, we are going through the evens now. If you haven't done the odds, make sure either before this video or after this video you go watch the odds and go through those odds and let me know if you have questions on those. All right, so starting with number 2, says how many sides does a regular polygon, again regular means all the same sides, all the same measures, have, how many sides does that have if one interior angle has 140? Okay, 140 degrees. So something to keep in mind is if you have an interior angle of some shape that's 140, that automatically means that the exterior angle is whatever's left out of 180 because they're supplementary. So that'd be 40 degrees. And like we said in number 3, we have the exterior angles always add up to 360 degrees. So, if that's the case, 360 divided by 40 is going to tell us how many sides we have. In this case being 9 sides. Okay? All right. So, this is the formula here for the sum of interior angles. The sum of exterior angles is always going to be the same, 360. All right, and number 4, what is the measure of one interior angle if of a regular dodecagon? And something to keep in mind with dodecagon, you can always Google. I think it's a 20-sided figure, but that is just my guess. Oh, it's a 12gon. Okay, so this means there's 12 sides, okay? So if that's the case, what is the measure of one interior angle of a regular dodecagon? Well, we got to find the sum first. So the sum is going to be 12 minus 2, just like our formula says up there, which is 10. So 10 times 180 is going to be 1,800. Now, one interior angle is going to be 1,800, the sum, divided by how many sides, which is 12. And so 1,800 divided by 12 is going to be 150. So 150 degrees is the measure of each interior angle. Okay? And so let's move on to number 6. Solve for x. So we've got 3 different examples here to solve for x here. Okay, so in this case, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the sum of those is going to be 5 minus 2, which is 3, times 180. So 3 times 180 is 540. Okay, so if those add up to 540, I need to add all these up equal to 540. So I'm going to take all of those, add it to x. So 125 plus 97 plus 115 plus 85 gives me 422 equals 540. And so subtract the 422 and I end up with x equals 118. Okay, and there it is. So for the second one on number 6, again, I'm trying to figure out what x is. Well, again, I want to figure out the sum of this first, but before I even do that, I'm going to figure out, okay, this is vertical to that, so 145 here, and then if that's 67, this must be 180 minus 67, which is 113. Okay, so now let's figure out what sum are we going to be using. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 sides. So the sum is going to be 7 minus 2, which is 5, times 180. 5 times 180 is 900. So the sum is going to be 900. So let's add them up. Plus x. So x plus what? That's going to be, starting with here, 107 plus 145 plus 133 plus 125 plus 113 plus 127. And that's 750. Okay, equals 900. So subtract 750, and I end up with x equals 150. And there it is. All right, and then the last one, this is a four-sided figure. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 minus 2 is 2 times 180. So the sum of those angles are going to be 360. So, again, I'm adding all these together, equal to 360. So 2x plus 3x is 5x, plus 86 plus 44 is 130, equals 360. So I subtract 130, and I get 5x equals 360 minus 130, and that's 230. And so I divide by 5, x equals 230 divided by 5, which is 46. And there we go. That's finding x using the sum. Okay, so you got to find that sum first, most of the time. All right, so number 8 says find the value of x, y, and z, keeping in mind it's a parallelogram. So use your cheat sheet. Okay, so in this case, remember opposite angles are congruent, including opposite of the diagonal. So 32 and 32, x equals 32. Same for these two. Y equals 30. Okay, and so in the same way, 18 and z, 118 and z are also equal. So that one was pretty easy, as long as we keep in mind opposite angles. Okay, so number 10, a little less easy this time. 83, this is a parallelogram, remember, so any consecutive sides, like these two, are supplementary. So 180 minus 83 is going to be 97. So z equals 97. And if that's 97, x is also 97 because they're opposite. Okay? And so finally, to find y, opposite angles are congruent. So this is 83. Well, if we're looking at 83 there, this and this are supplementary. So 180 minus 83 again. So y also equals 97. And there we go. So let's go to the back side now. Or the back side. So in this case, I've got number 12. This is another parallelogram, so keep those same things in mind. With opposite angles being congruent, opposite sides are also congruent in a parallelogram. So if I'm looking at the top and the bottom, 3x plus 60 must equal 90, because those opposite sides are congruent. So I subtract 60 to both sides, get 3x equals 30, divide by 3 and get x equals 10. Okay, and then same deal for y. These two are also congruent. 5y minus 15 equals 75. Add 15 to both sides, get 5y equals 90. Divide by 5, and that equals 18. Y equals 18. And there we go. That's number 12. All right. So let's look at number 14. That's supposed to say 14, I believe. So number 14 is also a parallelogram. So if it's A, B, C, D, since I don't have a picture, I'm going to go ahead and draw myself one just to make sure I understand where everything is. It says AB right here is 5x plus 2, and CD, which is opposite, is 3x plus 8. Once again, I just did one just like this where opposite sides are congruent. So 5x plus 2 equals 3x plus 8. So I subtract 3x to both sides. That's 2x. And then I'm going to subtract 2 to the other side as well. That's 6. Divided by 2, x equals 3. And that's all I had to find for that one, x equals 3. And so for number 16, see what we have here. This is also a parallelogram with diagonals xz. So this is talking about the second one here. xz, so this to this is a diagonal as well as wy. So all I know about diagonals is that they bisect each other. Okay, so like these two are congruent, these two are congruent. So YA is 3G and WA is 2G plus 3. So those two I can set equal to each other. Okay, so 2G plus 3 equals 3G. So I'm going to get G on one side, and I end up with 3 equals G, or G equals 3. Now, it also says XZ is 6G, and it wants me to find XA. So if this whole thing, XZ, is 6G, okay, I just found G is 3, so 6G is 6 times 3 is 18. So if this whole thing is 18, then that splits it up into 9 and 9. So therefore XA equals 9. Oops. Hold on a second. Can't write. There we go. XA equals 9. Okay? That's 16. All right, let's look at 18. This one says it's a square. Okay, see below, this is the square we're looking at. So, find the measure of DEG. DEG is this right here. Okay. Now, they don't tell us anything about this figure, but since it's a square, I know right away all of these are 90 degrees, and since it's a rhombus also, every angle is split into 2. So if this is a 90-degree angle, DEF, and it's split in 2, that's going to be 45 and 45. Okay? So the measure of angle DEG is 45 degrees. Okay? And lastly for that page, we have number 20. RSTU is a rectangle. So we're looking at the rectangle here with measure of angle R equal to 3x plus 9. Well, if that's 3x plus 9, I already know how to find x because that's a 90-degree angle. If it's a rectangle, automatically 90 degrees. So subtract 9, get 3x equals 81. Divide by 3 and I get 27. There we go. So on to our last page. We're looking at number 22. This is a kite. Okay, we haven't really talked about a kite, but something we need to keep in mind is that a kite is always split up symmetrically. Okay? There's two congruent parts. So the short sides and the long sides are both congruent, and then these opposite angles between the two are also congruent. Okay, so in this case, I can use a lot of that to my advantage to find x and y. Okay, so in this case, to find, for instance, x, I know these two are congruent. Okay, so x plus 2 equals 13. Subtract 2, x equals 11. Easy. Now to find y, I know this is up here is y, which means this is also y. And like we kind of said already before, if you have a four-sided figure, the interior angles all add up to 360. So what I'm really doing is I'm adding this plus this plus this plus this equal to 360. So y plus y is 2y plus 132 plus 60 is 192 equals 360. And so I subtract 192, I get 2y equals, what is that? 168, and divide by 2 to get y equals 84. Okay, so you notice that I'm not just trying to do this stuff in my head. I'm using a calculator. Okay, so my suggestion is to always use a calculator so you don't miss little mistakes like that. Okay, so moving on to 24, we've got the following is a rhombus. So I'm looking at this figure here as my rhombus. Okay, I've already done the two odds. What I also know about a rhombus is that all of the sides are congruent. Okay, so if that's the case, AB and BC should be the same. They're congruent. So I can just set those two equal to find x. So 3x plus 5 equals 5x minus 9. So I'm going to get x on one side here. Get 2x. I'm going to add 9 to the other side, get 14. And so I get x equals 7. Well, that's not what I was asking. It wants me to find the perimeter. So since AB here is 3x plus 5, I plug in 7 to get 3 times 7, which is 21, plus 5, which is 26. And so since all of these are the same, this is 26, this is 26, and this is 26. So add them together, or 26 times 4, which is 104 for the perimeter. Okay, so again, use your cheat sheet to figure out, okay, what am I using? What property am I using? Okay, so in the last one here, last couple, before we get to 29, I've got isosceles trapezoid. Okay, so ZOID is my trapezoid, and I've got ZO, so I'm going to clear this out real quick. I've got ZO is 15 up top, and ID on the bottom is 27. Find the length of the mid-segment. So the mid-segment would be the segment that's going across there. And like we talked about already, the mid-segment equals the top and the bottom, so 15 plus 27, both divided by 2. So 15 plus 27 is 42. 42 divided by 2 is 21 for number 26. Okay, 21. So number 28, I'm using the same trapezoid. It says ZI is 6x minus 4, and it says OD is 2x plus 12. So if that's the case, I can set those equal because it's an isosceles trapezoid, which the diagonals being congruent is a property of that. So that's going to be 6x minus 4 equals 2x plus 12, and now I can go ahead and solve. So I subtract 2x to both sides, which is going to give me 4x minus 4 equals 12. And I get 4x equals 16, and therefore x equals 4 for number 28, I mean. So there it is, 4. Didn't have to find anything else there. Okay, so the last one here, it's a lot similar to, very similar to our worksheet we had for 6-7, which deals with coordinates. Okay, so I want to figure out which one of these the quadrilateral is. So F is -3, 1. I'm going to plot these. So this is really about slope. Okay, to be a parallelogram, the opposite sides need to be parallel, same slope. So 1, 3 here. And then To be a rectangle, they have to be perpendicular. So let's find out. 5, 1 is here. And then 1, -1 is here. So when you connect all those, oops. Going to find out what our slopes are. Okay, so I'm going to start with these two opposite sides, see if their slopes are the same. So I'm going to go up 2/4, which is 1/2. And then same thing here, up 1/2. So those are the same slope. And then looking at these two, I've got down 2/4, which is -1/2, down 2/2, which is -1/2 as well. So it is a parallelogram, but if you look at these are not perpendicular, so it is not a rectangle. Okay. So the last thing I want to check is, are the diagonals perpendicular? So if you look at the diagonals, they're going straight up and down and straight across. Well, that does make a right angle, so therefore this is a rhombus. That is a rhombus. So that kind of makes it easier if you like to graph. If you would rather use the slope formula, again, that's also an option. Okay. So any other questions you might have on the prior to the test, be sure to ask me, email me, send me a screenshot of a problem, whatever it might be, and I'll help you out. Peace.